This is sniping positions for World of Tanks. It's going to be in random order. So the first thing is with El Haluf, I noticed if you look at where I am on the mini-map and you look at where I'm pointing to, where the Progetto 65 is, you can hit vehicles up here in the northwest from this position over here. So what I've been doing when I'm playing on the north is I rush across to this area or someplace similar and I shoot at those tanks. This is on front line, and basically what it is I discovered that there would just happen to be a little gap. It's not going to be a common place. This is airfield. This shows you the view if you are out of spotting range. You can just park out in the open. A lot of people go up ahead over here where these rocks are and these bushes, but you don't have to. You can come over here in the back and pre-aim on those spots, and you got shots on those vehicles. This is showing, obviously, very popular, well-known position. This is El Haluf. So we used to shoot through here all the time, but now, of course, people know they can get shot through here. But I'm just showing that this is an angle. This is a location where you can shoot through. If you happen to notice that there's tanks over there, you can just quickly go to this position. This is on Tundra. Basically what it is you can just park here. You got nice coverage with bushes. You won't get spotted. And you can see where it is. It's kind of weird because you got this big hill behind you. And you can hit those tanks. And look how small that bush is. And I park using this bush and maybe this one all the time. Works out well. This over here is a certain place where you can shoot through. You see the KV-4? Tanks often show up over here. You can park over here. You have to be high up because there's some sort of a structure blocking the lower part, but you can park over here and shoot through. That's what it looks like. Okay, so a lot of people, they go up onto the sniping area. You see where the SU-122-44 is? But you don't have to do that. You can come down. I wish I had a screenshot. And I'm on the slope right now, which is why the game looks crooked. And you can see that you can sit there and shoot down this alley, which is popular for enemy tanks to show up on. This is Berlin. Basically, there's a triangular shape of bushes. Look on the mini-map, and you can park in these bushes, and you can spot and snipe. So when you spot, you're going to roll into the bush to spot something, and when you snipe, you're going to reverse and use the bushes or double bush. I believe that there might be a double row of bushes, I'm not sure, and you can snipe at the distance. So this is a sniping position that you can use. That's the view when I moved forward into a spotting position. And that's what it looks like. You see how it's got the triangular shape? Now what I do is I play where the white cap is, where the building is. I found that to be the most flexible position. Okay, there is a spotting position which is on the right of this house. You see we've got this broken structure in front of us and there's some bushes. I don't know if you can see the mouse. There's a house here. And I believe there's another house on the other side where people park. But the good thing about this is you can sit, spot through the window, shoot through the window, and they have no clue where you're coming from. And you're really well protected. If he tries to shoot back at you, he's got to shoot through this little window. So it's a cute little sniping spot that you can use. I'm going to try this a little bit more in the future. This is a position that I've shown before where on Sand River you can come up over here and you can shoot at tanks that come up into this position. I will tell you that they learn very quickly. If you damage the tanks, see the enemy triangle, as they come up over here, they'll be hesitant to keep on coming up. So it really only works for one shot. This is just showing, there's a little bush area over here. Not a good example. Maybe I brought this for something else. Okay, so I believe what I did is I climbed this slope area, but I would like to point out the last time I climbed this, I fell right off, and I probably crashed and died or lost 90% of my hit points or something. But you can see that you have a nice view, and you're definitely elevated, and you see these tanks like this, can't see what vehicle it is, but the one on the right with 1,400 hit points, when they came up, they think that nobody can hit them. But if you're up here, you can definitely hit them. But you got, like I said, you got to be careful. Um, this is a position. I know you say you don't recognize it, but you do. You see where it's pointing to? It's going through the middle of town, and the enemy shows up on the other side, but you don't see the trees or the buildings because it's beyond your view range. But the enemy shows up over here, and you can be actually quite far away. Look how far away I am. Normally, if you look over here, there's some trees. I line up on the trees, but you could be all the way back here, and you can shoot through that alley, and you can get clear shots on the enemy tanks that line up over here. Oh, I believe this is the tree over here on the left where I knock down to shoot through the alley. But you can do it from here if you want. This is showing how I was able to fire at this tank from the hill. It's very hard to find a good position on the hill on Murovonka where you can hit into the east. Now keep in mind that he is on the line where he hasn't gone over the little slope yet. But that's a view of what it looks like. Very hard to find a perfect position. They are out there. I know that there's one where you can shoot across and hit the tanks as they climb the hill or go back down. I believe what this is I'm just showing that you should knock the tree down when you go into the spotting position where I am right here. You're going to spot a lot of vehicles as they move over here. But I have a better plan. This is a row of bushes that nobody uses. Look at where I'm positioned. Everybody lines up where the T-28 prototype is, but it ends up that there's another row. So when this defender comes around, you can hit him from here before the T-28 gets his shot, and you get first dibs on those tanks coming around. You might want to try and knock this tree over because you're not going to be doing the spotting, but you can use that position. You see I caused damage on a Senlac. The problem is when the enemy advances, you got to go further to get out of there. Okay, so this is the reverse of the position I showed on the north on Siegfried Line. Notice that on Siegfried Line, this is good when you assault. Often enemy tanks are going to show up over here. And you can park all the way up here on this hill, and you can shoot through this corridor as your allies are advancing. So that is a position you might want to consider, even if you're an SPG, especially if you got good penetration. Now, this is obviously on steps. I'm sure you know about this. In the north, there's a rock. In the south, there's a rock. You line up over here. There's a bunch of trees and bushes. Sometimes you get away with sniping all you want. Sometimes you get spotted. It's hit or miss. Anything can happen, but that's a position that I do like to play. This is showing how the slopes that are at a 45-degree angle, if you don't have good gun depression, what I do is I use these slopes. This is the north firing into the south. I'm exposing very little of my tank when I play in this position. However, my personal belief is it's better to play on the other side of the river, depending on what vehicle you have. If you got a really strong turret, I would play on this side, but if you don't, maybe on the other side. Okay, you see where I am on Province? The M4A1, they come up like this road over here, and I believe there's a way that you can snipe them when they're coming up the road. Maybe not. This is. I don't think this is it. It says I got spotting damage on him. This is just showing how from here you can reach across to the other side. And look at where he is on the minimap. I know it's not impressive. This is on Glacier. Where I am is a little dip. You know that there's a little dip over here. There's a little canyon, and there's a little dip, and you can park in the dip, and nobody does. And I'm just showing how from there you can hit these vehicles. Look at where he's climbing up the road. If you've got somebody spotting those tanks, you got clear shots on them when they're going up the road. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to stop the enemy from climbing up to the top of the aircraft carrier, and then you go over here to hit these guys as they head that way. So I talked about this at the start of the video. This is the bush that I hide in and spot in. You see where there's this rock over here and there's some bushes? That's where you go, where you can spot with the bushes and you can snipe, and there's a rock to give you some defense. But I'm just showing how you got a clear view through here. Not used as often as it used to be. This is so interesting. Look at where I am on Abbey. I'm on the lower road and I can hit onto the base. Isn't that cool? I can hit that Panther. Look at where he is on the base. Hard for me to see. That is the Panther right there. And that's a 45 TP. And you see where he is on the base, the 45 TP. So it ends up that you should be aware of that. You can hit them from this position. I believe I showed this earlier. Okay, so another thing that I do is I often play in this position, and the enemy often climbs up this area, so I'm often over here hitting them, and they kind of get stuck because they're in a situation where they don't know if they should continue going up or if they should retreat and go down. So you can do a lot of damage, but I'm going to tell you it's not perfectly safe. I do sometimes have problems where I have to hide and take some damage. Obviously, this tank is in our territory, but what I did was it looked like maybe I climbed up a slope here. It's really hard to tell where this is because there's a train right next to me. This is a position that I frequently play, and the point that I'm making, usually you see where the F2 is, tanks come over here and you shoot at them. It ends up you can hit the tanks out here in the northwest also, like where the T-34 is. So where the T-67 is, he might not be able to hit them. So just be aware to keep an eye on both directions. You can also hit where the AMX ELC is, but you got to be in the perfect position, and you got to have the really good tank. And this is just showing that this vehicle can hit the tanks over here and the tanks over here, something you want to be aware of. This is showing how I'm trying to hit from the position into the south. It is possible. You can do damage doing it. But they got to be in the perfect position, and you got to be in the perfect position, and you've got to have great gun elevation. This is a position that I discovered. It gets your shots over the rail. You see what I'm talking about? It is next to this crane. You climb up onto the dirt, and that's basically it. I'm always trying to find ways on Serene Coast to snipe up onto where the medium tanks play from the middle. But it is you can do it through the train cars, but it's nearly impossible to aim. So this is one. Obviously, it's a lucky shot. It's showing that you can do it under the bridge. However, I haven't played this often enough to know how effective it is. This is another example. You see how it's talking about on Fjords, you can hit those tanks, but notice that he's come through quite a bit in order for me to be able to hit him and get that clear shot. See what I mean? but look at where I am. You really are in a tight position. This also is showing one of the ledges. This is safer than the one on the other side, where you get a little bit of an elevated view. That's what it looks like. But you got to be careful because you could slip right off. And see how you got a better view of the heavy tanks as they're heading into battle. That's an OI. Look at how strategic his position is. Here's an example of, can't read it, is it AMX GF? The AMX 1357F or something? And look at where he is on the mini-map. I don't know if you can hit him. He's just there. That's all. Okay, so here's an example. Look at where he is on the mini-map, and I've got a clear shot on him. Here's another example. There's a hull down position. I don't know if it's in front of me or behind me. It could be behind me. But in this mode, enemy tanks often show up over here. They don't sit there. You might only get one shot. If you play on the middle road and you're in the right position, tanks often park over here, especially with encounter mode. They like to park right over here. So you can hit them. And you can hit, you see where the red line is? If they try to cross over, you can hit them there too. You got to go up that little slope, which I don't use much. But here's another view of what it looks like going through. And there's another view. I prefer to play on the middle road because when you hit the side armor, you can use regular rounds. You're more likely to penetrate. Over here somewhere there's a hull down position. I don't know why I'm parked over here. Okay. There are ways that you can shoot at, you see where the red tank is on the other side? There's ways that you can shoot at them through, you got to be like down where I'm pointing on the minimap with my mouse pointer. I'm just showing that there's a little bit of a view. You can see that there's the flag over here for the encounter, and then there's the tower structure that's on the cap. And there's the vehicle. And look at where he is on the minimap. He's on the other side. He's on the other side of the river. That means that the bridge is, he's probably pointing towards the bridge, and the bridge is probably pointing towards the left. And I damaged him. Here's a shot from a similar position. Notice the KV-2 is on the other side of the river. And okay, when the heavy tanks go into battle at this midpoint, this is the final building where you can duck behind. And there's a position on the hill where you can just hit those tanks, and they all come over here and park and reload, and then they come back out, or they side scrape right over here, and they go forward over here and backwards, and you got clear shots on them. So remember this position when you play on Erlenberg. Notice I hit him for 108. This is showing that on airfield, where the stadium is, you've got a shot where you can hit the vehicles, the tops of the vehicles, that are waiting to reload where the heavy tanks play. I've played this position a few times. You're going to be lucky to get shots. It's not one of those things where it's a no-brainer. You go sit there and you shoot at everything. But you can get a shot here or there. You see, it's a very difficult shot to make. It's not super clear. Obviously, this is on Paris. What I'm basically showing, it's a good spotting and sniping position where the vehicles are going to come across, and because of the trees, you might not get spotted, but you do got to be careful for vehicles opposite you. That's what it looks like. If you want, I don't know. It's a position you can play. This is a position where I believe I'm showing you can hit that KV-1. Yeah, look at that. You can hit that KV1. Look at where he is in the town, and look at where I am sniping from Siegfried Line. Obviously, a lot of people use this. I don't. I never play here. I play out in the open because I want to be able to spot enemy tanks and snipe, and I'll just run away. And you get a clearer view. You get a little bit more of a clear view where I play. Okay, on Pilsen, there are positions from here where you can shoot through all the way across. Anybody who's trying to cross over that middle, and when they play encounter mode, there's an encounter base over here. You can go to this position to reset the cap through the door and shoot through there. So remember that. There's games of me resetting the cap going through here. This is a spotting position that I've been playing to spot the vehicles as they cross over. No, not this is on the left side, but I spot them as they cross over here. Lately, I've been just playing down over here, and I run behind the mountain structure, and I spot from over here. I have more fun doing it that way. This is an old position. Wow, it's amazing. Look at that. Okay, I know this position. From here, this is defending on Ghost Town. You can snipe up on this hill, and you can watch inside the town. See what I mean? Any vehicle that comes through here, or up on that hill, you can watch. And when you need to reload, you have to drive forward to where these buildings are. I'm going to tell you, you got to be really tight with these buildings, because you see the building only goes up to here. And you got to be parked right over here. Otherwise, you're going to get some ammo laid on you. So remember this position. It's one of those positions that I think is worth trying because you got more potential targets you could shoot at. There's a bush that I've used. Again, now I go down here where the bushes are, and when I'm spotted, I run behind this hill structure. This is just showing that there's a line going through the middle over here from some position. I'm sorry that I didn't get a better view. Okay, I never play up here on the sniping position on Pilsen, but you can shoot through those doors where the Type 64 is. So remember, if you see a tank parked by the door, you can shoot at them. So keep an eye on that if you play in that position. This is something that I showed earlier in the video where the crane is. This is the ARL V39. I climbed up to here, and I'm shooting down at a Type 64 and bringing on the pain. Look at where it is on the mini-map. Nobody uses it. But this is, again, me showing the flexibility of this position. You see, I've got shots up here on this. Okay. This is on the north. We're going to switch over. Oh, I believe that this is because the bushes keep you hidden, because there's bushes between you and the enemy. So you can just sit over here and fire and they won't spot you. This is showing that, you see where I am south of the cap? You've got shots on this enemy sniping position over here. So that's just another one of those positions. Let's say you're spotting over here in the field. Why not pick this position? So you can snipe up here. You're covering anybody that's coming through here. You're watching what's going through here. Position you want to know about. You know that there will be enemy tanks up there. This is a good position. You want to learn this position and play it. From here, you see how I hit the Burask? Look at where he is on the mini-map. When he comes out there, he thinks nobody can hit him. But not only that, you can shoot into town from here. You got beautiful shots into town. That's the view on the Burask. Through the rocks. Let's see if we got, there he is. No, that's a different tank. The STRV next to him. Look at where he is on the minimap. But again, you can also, this is where it is. You look for this pole, And I think you might have to move a little bit to the right in order to shoot into town. That's the pole. And this is how I'm in basically the same position. You see I moved a little bit towards the spawn, and you can shoot into town and look at the tanks in town. These are the tanks that are at the east of that cathedral where you could potentially see enemy tanks. And this is like a corridor way. So this is one of those flexible positions where you can cover two different ways and nobody will expect it and they won't know that they can shoot back at you. There's another view. So it's a position you want to be aware of. Now you notice I moved a little bit more. This is the other side of the cathedral. This is the north side. M48 is lower than the cathedral. It's a little bit hard to see, but I believe that the unspotted OBJ would be over here. There would be enemy tanks over here. There he is. You see where he is? This is the cathedral. He's hiding behind it. This is where they love to sit and cap. And now look at where I moved. I had to move to the little bush, which I mentioned earlier, and you can shoot at those vehicles. So you start a little bit to the left of the spawn, and you go one square over. That's the bush. You got these rocks over here, the bush, the road. You can shoot through. This is a great position. You'll get, I guarantee you, 1,561 damage. And look at that beautiful shot. And look at where he is. He's all the way in the back. And look at that. He's playing that junky E75 TS. You know what? E75 TS is an awesome tank. I love it. Now, I spoke earlier about how where the bridge is, you can shoot through. If the enemy tries to cross through here, you've got this wide opening where you can shoot. That might be the bridge right in front. I'm not sure if we're looking at the bridge or not. But what I do know is on Erlenberg, the chances that enemy tanks cross through here is very high. If you're defending, imagine, see, I'm on the north. Imagine I'm defending and they're assaulting and they got to pass through here. All the great shots you're going to get. But most people are more up the hill. They don't know they got to come out here a little bit more. Or you go, you see where the ISU is on the left? You go over there and you hide in the bushes and you line up on this archway and you got clear shots. That's what it looks like. This is a spotting position. Beginning of the game. It's only a minute into the game. You rush out to here. You really want to go to the next hill. And you want to make sure your white circle covers the area that they're coming out of over here. And you can spot them as they cross over and shoot at them. And if you've got an autoloader with 2-second reload, you might get 2 shots in. So this is a little bit of an ambush position that I use when I play on Pilsen. You can do the same if you're playing on the North team. You basically got to meet in the middle over here. There is on Shire, you come over to the river, knock some trees down, you can shoot at these tanks as they're crossing over, and they're going to think you're up on the hill. You do got to be careful. A lot of spotters in this area, especially at the start of the game. I've had really good games where I've just had my way with them, but I've had games where I had to run. You have to know if you get spotted the path to run, which is always get into the river, start heading south. This is Serene Coast. Now, I understand that the FV is not in the best position, but as I've said, I look for ways. Let's see if we can figure out where it is. No, I didn't show, unfortunately. But there's ways where you can get some shots up onto the upper level, but I haven't found the magic spot yet. But watch my future videos. This is showing, you see where I am at the base? You can hit vehicles that are playing up here on the hill, and you can cover vehicles coming through on the west. So don't go too far into the lower level. Just stay up near the base on the upper level. There's a rock there, and cover that area and that area. You increase your coverage. On Stu's Yankee, people don't know this. You go here in the middle, see that vehicle? See the red line? He is in front of the leopard. Look at the leopard. The leopard's right here. That vehicle, I don't know what vehicle it is, but it looks like he just took damage. Maybe it's M4A1. You know what? It absolutely is. He was just taken out by the SPG. I could have shot at him. Okay? So this is a position you're going to want to know if you've got a fast tank. If there's a lot of enemy tanks up here on the hill, I come over here, take them out. And they'll be afraid to climb that hill. They won't know what's going on. On Berlin, I usually play in the center where the building is. But sometimes I play kind of in this position, and if I get spotted, I go over here and hide behind this barricade. But if there's SPG, they will bombard me. I get bombarded by SPG because I'm a frontline player. Look at where my team is. They're on the left. I'm on the right side of the map. I went all the way over because I want that advantage. There is an S-35CA. I do have to hope that the T-3485 will help me out. But I'm just showing you can get sneaky shots on the enemy if you play in the middle. If you play down here in the south, they're going to be hiding so much. From here, I can turn around and shoot south. I can turn around and shoot north, etc. If you got an ally with you, you're doing really good. This is showing that position that I spoke about before near the cap. You see the view you get, and you're a little bit above, which means you can hit in the back a little. Sorry, I ruined it. This is, you know, it's really hard for me to figure out what this is. Okay, I know what this is. This little hill is the direct middle of the map. The big hill starts right over here on the right. And the little part that they climb up is over here. So I'm just showing you've got open shots over here and this crossover point. This is a position on Karelia where there's a lot of rocks. You can hide in here. You got some bushes. You're surrounded by bushes. This is one of the positions. I always go to a different position when I play. I go to a position and stop. But I'm just showing how you've got good coverage in this particular position. And if you're a beginner scouting on Karelia, try this one out. See where it is? Because, like I said, no matter what direction they snipe at you from, you can hide fairly well. Okay, this is Prokhorovka. This is the rock and the bush that the heavy tanks pull into. I'm to the left of the rock. Here's the rail line. And the point that I'm making here is that you see where the STB-1 is? Look at where he is. You can hit the vehicles up on that far hill in the upper right corner from this position. And most people don't realize I played heavy tanks in the middle on the rail, never once thought to shoot up over there. This might have been the only game where I gave it any consideration, but it is possible. This is just showing on Red Shire that if you go to this position, the heavy tanks are literally on the other side of the hill. You can snipe your hearts out. And because of the tree, you're probably not going to get spotted. And because I am an autoloader, if I want to, I can go and quickly get behind the heavy tanks, throw some shells in them, and then leave. This is a position that I talked about before, showing how on fjords, if you go to the right spot, you can shoot over those houses. Okay. This is the house on the upper level on Erlenberg on the east side. All the light tanks go up over here and they sit on, you know what, this might be the second house. The point I'm making is from all the way over here, you can shoot at them. So if you see tanks up on this upper level from the north team thinking that no one can shoot at them, you can. But look at where you got to be. You got to find those gaps. This is showing how, okay, this is the start of the video. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.